I'm an 18-year-old who thought I struck out on all my college applications. By April, every email I saw was a rejection. It was devastating. I busted my butt in high school, and I couldn't understand why I didn't get in anywhere. My stepdad kept telling me not to worry and that community college was a good start anyway. He's always been pushing the community college route, saying universities are a waste of money. I figure he was just trying to make me feel better about the rejections, but it always rubbed me the wrong way how quickly he dismissed the idea of me going to a 4-year university. It turns out I wasn't actually rejected everywhere. My stepdad was intercepting my acceptance letters and emails and only showing me the rejections. I had used a Gmail account for applications that he helped me set up. He insisted on having the password for emergencies. Little did I know he went into the settings and made a filter to automatically delete or hide any emails that looked like acceptances. On top of that, he was snagging the physical mail from colleges before I could see it. I usually never beat him to the mailbox after school, and I didn't think anything of it. I didn't realize he was taking my college letters and stashing them in his home office. I only found out any of this by pure luck. A week ago, I got a phone call on my cell from a number I didn't recognize. I picked up and it was an admissions officer from one of the universities I applied to. She said they hadn't heard from me and wanted to know if I was still interested, because the deadline to accept my spot had passed a week ago. I was like, "Excuse me, what spot?" I almost thought it was a prank. She explained I'd been accepted to their university and they were surprised I hadn't responded. I told her I hadn't gotten any acceptance letter or email. I thought I was rejected. She kindly suggested checking my email spam or junk folders and said if I was still interested, I might be able to enroll late. After hanging up, I tore through my email account. That's when I noticed something odd, an email from that college in the trash folder, marked as read. I started digging in the email settings and found the filter my stepdad set up. It was set to catch emails with words like congratulations, accepted, offer admission, etc., and auto-delete them. There were several emails from different colleges that had gotten caught. I felt sick realizing all those rejections I saw might have been the only emails left because he filtered out the acceptances. I needed more proof, so I decided to snoop in my stepdad's home office while he was at work. In one of his desk drawers, I found a thick folder hidden under some files. When I opened it, I literally had to sit down because inside were actual college acceptance letters addressed to me. I'm talking about big envelope packages from at least 4 universities I applied to, all opened. The nerve of this man. He had them hidden away all this time, while I was moping around thinking I wasn't good enough to get in anywhere. And on a few letters he'd scribbled notes like, "too expensive," or "nope," in pen. I was furious and horrified. I took the letters and printouts and confronted him that evening as soon as he got home. I was shaking with anger, but I tried to stay calm and just asked him straight up why he hid my college acceptances. At first he played dumb like, "I don't know what you're talking about," so I pulled out the stack of letters and showed him. His face went through a few colors of shock and then he got defensive. He actually sighed and told me he was going to talk to me about those. Yeah, right. When, after the deadlines passed for all of them? I demanded an explanation, and he finally just came out with it. He didn't want me going to a university because it's too expensive, and he doesn't want my mom wasting money on it. I was absolutely livid. First of all, I've been working part-time and I have some savings for college. Plus, my mom had set aside some money for me from before she even married him. It's not all his money. Second, even if money was a concern, what he did, sabotaging me, is such a betrayal. I yelled that he had no right to decide this for me, or for my mom. He started yelling back that I should be grateful he's looking out for me, that I'll graduate debt-free if I do 2 years at community college and then transfer. He kept insisting he was doing me a favor, saving me and mom from huge debt for a useless degree. I told him it's not his call to make, and hiding my acceptance letters was a disgusting, selfish move. It got heated. He basically told me to shut up and stop overreacting. He said I needed to be realistic and that, in this house, we're not going to throw money away on some fancy college when community college exists. I was so angry I was literally seeing red. I shouted back that he had ruined my chances of going to a school I worked hard to get into. The deadline for that one school had already passed because of him, and who knows what else I missed. He actually rolled his eyes and said, "It's not a big deal, you can start at community college and maybe transfer later. Stop making this a bigger deal than it is." He then had the audacity to tell me not to tell my mom about any of this. He knew she would lose it if she found out. My mom was out of town visiting my grandparents for a few days, and he goes, "There's no need to worry your mom about this. She has enough on her mind. We'll talk it out and handle it ourselves." By handle it, he meant I should quietly accept his decision, forget about those universities, and stick to community college like he planned. I told him flat out that I wasn't going along with that. This was my future and he had crossed a line big time. He got really cold and said something like, "You'd better reconsider making this into a crusade, young lady. Don't make me out to be the bad guy here." I did what I had to do. It sounded a little threatening, honestly, like he was warning me to keep my mouth shut. Right now I'm stuck at home alone with him until my mom gets back, which is in 2 days. I haven't told her yet, but I'm going to as soon as she's home. I did text her asking when she's coming back, but I didn't want to drop this on her by text or phone while she's at my grandparents'. She replied saying she'll be home soon and asked if everything's okay. I just said, "We'll talk when you're back." I think she could sense something is off, because she kept asking if my stepdad and I were getting along. I had to lie and say we're fine. In reality, I'm barely speaking to him and he's acting like nothing happened. I'm posting this here because I'm just beyond frustrated and angry. My stepdad basically tried to steal my future because he didn't want money spent on me. It's so controlling and deceitful I can't even wrap my head around it fully. I don't know what's going to happen when I tell my mom, but I know it's going to blow up. She has no idea he did this, and she's going to be furious and heartbroken that he kept this from both of us. I'm also not sure what I can do about the colleges. Did I lose all my offers? Can I salvage any of this? I feel like I have to try, but I'm also still in shock that this even happened. Date 1. So, my mom got back from her trip and I told her everything. I didn't even let her take off her jacket before I blurted it out. I was that desperate for her to know. My mom was devastated and furious. I've never seen her react like that. First she was in shock, asking me over and over, "He did what? Are you absolutely sure?" I showed her the physical letters in my hand and her face just fell. Then she started sobbing and apologizing to me, which I didn't expect. She kept saying, "I'm so sorry, I had no idea, I should have known something was wrong." Pretty soon her shock turned into pure rage. I was actually a little stunned at how angry she got, because my mom is usually a pretty quiet, conflict-avoidant person. But she was livid that he had gone behind our backs and messed with my future. She kept saying things like, "All those nights we sat with you upset over those rejections, and he knew you weren't rejected? How could he do this to you? How could he do this to us?" It was a lot. I was angry too, obviously, but seeing how it broke my mom's heart added a new layer. She felt betrayed not just on my behalf but as his wife. He completely violated her trust as a partner by making such a big decision about our lives without talking to her. We didn't even wait an hour before confronting my stepdad together. He came back from running errands and found us in the living room, and you could tell from our faces that he knew the jig was up. My mom immediately laid into him. I've never heard her yell at anyone like that. It was a full-on explosive fight. She was screaming, asking him how the hell he could hide her own daughter's college acceptance letters. My stepdad went straight into defense mode. He tried the same excuses he gave me, saying he was just thinking of our finances, that he was trying to prevent my mom from wasting money on some big university when community college is just as good. He kept repeating that college is too expensive and that we need to be smart with our money. That set my mom off even more. She yelled, "Our money? Since when is it just your money? We saved that money for her education." For context, my mom has a separate small savings account that was meant for me. Some of it was money my dad, her ex, left for me when he passed away, and some of it is just mom's saving over the years. My stepdad is aware of this, and I think he always resented that a chunk of money was earmarked for me to go to college. But he never outright said it before. Now he basically admitted he didn't want any money, hers, his, whatever, going toward me going to a 4-year school. The argument was super heated. There was a lot of shouting back and forth. My mom called what he did financially controlling and a massive breach of trust. He yelled that she was being emotional and not thinking straight about the costs. At one point he actually said, "If you two would stop and think logically, you'd be thanking me for saving you from a huge financial mistake." That made me see red again, and I told him no one is ever going to thank him for being a manipulative liar. My mom backed me up and said his behavior was disgusting and that he lied to both of us. Things escalated to the point where he started getting that cold, angry tone with me again. He pointed at me and said I was making this into a bigger deal than it needs to be. He actually had the nerve to say, "Kids get rejected from college all the time and survive. You'd have been fine at community college. You still will be if you stop this nonsense." I shot back that the issue is he took away my choice and lied about it. Mom was furious and told him this wasn't his decision to make. He then flat out threatened me. He said if I keep trying to turn his wife against him, and if I insist on making this into some giant drama, then I could just pack my things and get out of his house. Yep, he basically threatened to kick me out for calling him out on his BS. My mom immediately was like, "She's not going anywhere. If anyone should be leaving, it's you for pulling this stunt." He got even louder, shouting over her, "I'm not going anywhere. This is my house, I pay the bills, so I make the rules." It was terrifying in the moment, to be honest. I've never seen him that enraged. I was afraid he might actually grab my stuff and throw it on the lawn right then and there. My mom told him if he didn't calm down, she'd call the police, which I was surprised to hear her say. He was like, "Oh, now you're threatening me with police? Unbelievable," and just kind of threw his hands up and stormed out of the house to cool off. He drove off in his car after that, I think just to get away for a bit. My mom hugged me and told me I'm not getting kicked out and that she will figure this out. I can tell she's still processing the shock, but she 100% took my side in front of him, which felt good. The house is extremely tense now. When he came back later, we all mostly avoided each other. No one apologized and nothing was really resolved. It's just this Cold War vibe. My mom and I are kind of sticking together, and he's off stewing by himself. He's clearly angry that I told her and that we ganged up on him. He's barely speaking to either of us except to make snide comments like, "Nice of you two to consult me on your big life decisions," if he overhears us talking about college stuff. It's awkward as hell. I don't know what the next step is. My mom said she might stay at her friend's place with me for a couple of days to put some space between us and him, but I'm not sure if we will. She's worried about leaving her own house like that. And honestly, I'm worried if we leave, he might do something crazy with my stuff or with the finances. Right now I'm just avoiding him and focusing on damage control for my college situation. Update 2. Thanks to everyone who suggested it. I spent the past several days calling every college that, apparently, accepted me to explain the situation and see if any would still honor my admission or offer late enrollment. It's been hectic, but I have some good news on that front. Out of the schools I contacted, 3 universities said they would still take me, either for a late fall start or a spring semester start. I couldn't believe it. I honestly thought I was screwed and would have to wait an entire year or something. But I explained what happened, just said there was a family emergency / mix-up that caused me to miss the deadline. One of these universities was actually one of my top choices back when I applied. It's a university not too far away. And get this, they told me I'm still eligible for a partial scholarship they had initially offered when they accepted me. The scholarship money hadn't been allocated elsewhere yet, so if I enroll for the spring semester, I can still use it. I literally did a double take on the phone when they said that. It feels like a huge break after all this chaos. The other 2 universities said I could join the upcoming spring semester as well, but without specific scholarships, though I might still get some aid, I'll have to check. Either way, I have options now beyond just community college, which is such a relief. I was afraid none of these would work out because of the missed deadlines, but it seems at least a few places are sympathetic or just still have space. I think the one that called me in the first place really wanted to fill their class and that's why they reached out. And the fact I had good grades and stuff probably helped convince them I didn't just blow off the deadline on purpose. While I was doing all this, my stepdad was keeping an eye on me like a hawk. I tried to do most of it while he was at work or out of the house, but I'm pretty sure he overheard one of my phone calls. He started grilling me about who I was talking to, and I just told him college admissions offices, without giving details. He looked pissed off that I was still pursuing the university thing. I think he expected me to just roll over and accept going to community college after our last blow-up. No chance, dude. Well, when he found out that I actually got into a university for the spring, with a scholarship, he absolutely went nuclear. I'm not sure whether my mom told him or if he snooped and found out himself. I had told my mom privately about the offers and the scholarship, and I was really happy, and she was happy for me too. We were discussing how to plan everything for spring, and that's probably when he caught wind. Next thing I know, there's another massive shouting match happening. This time my stepdad was in pure rage mode. He was yelling at my mom that she was about to make the biggest mistake of her life by letting me go off to some university and blow all our money. He basically threw down an ultimatum. She has to choose between supporting me in going to one of these universities or keeping their marriage intact. Yeah, he really went there. It's her or me. He told my mom that if I go to the university and she helps me in any way, financially or otherwise, then she's choosing me over him and he won't tolerate it. Like, what kind of adult man gets into a jealousy power struggle with an 18-year-old over something like this? He kept ranting that I'm ungrateful, that I'm driving a wedge in their marriage, that if she had any respect for him, she'd stick to the original plan, community college. My mom was crying by this point and accusing him of trying to control her and isolate me. She said, "You're my husband, but she's my daughter. Why are you making me choose in the first place? We're supposed to be a family." His response was basically that I'm not his kid, ouch, and he's not obligated to pay a dime for me, especially not for some fancy college plans. He said I'm almost 19 and an adult and I can do whatever if I want, but not with his money and not under his roof. I stayed out of this particular shouting match as much as I could. I was in the next room, but I could hear every word. My heart was pounding like crazy hearing him basically demand my mom abandon supporting me. I did walk in at one point when he said I'm not his kid, and I told him, damn right I'm not, because my real dad would never have pulled the crap you did. Probably not the smartest thing to throw fuel on the fire, but I was just so angry. He yelled at me to stay out of it, that this was between him and my mom. I yelled back that it involved me, so I am in it. Mom tried to get me to go to my room. I eventually did just to stop the three-way yelling. I sat in my room listening to the rest. He kept at my mom, basically saying she's a bad wife if she sides with me. I heard him say something like, "If you do this, don't expect this marriage to continue. I refuse to be disrespected like this." My mom was sobbing and saying, "Why are you doing this? You lied to us and now you want me to just turn my back on my daughter's dreams? You're insane." She also said something about, "How can you talk about respect when you went behind my back and destroyed something so important?" It went on for what felt like forever. Eventually things went quiet, and I heard a door slam. I'm pretty sure my stepdad slept on the couch or at least in the guest room that night because he didn't come to their bedroom. The next morning, I found my mom in the kitchen looking exhausted. She basically told me, "If he's forcing me to choose, I choose you. He can't call himself my husband and treat my child this way." I gave her the biggest hug and actually started crying because I had been half afraid she might somehow choose him, their marriage of 5 years versus me who'll hopefully be moving out soon for college. It's a messed up thought, but he really had me paranoid. She assured me that she's not abandoning me and that she's sorry it even got to this point. I could tell she was really heartbroken that her marriage was crumbling, but she was also resolute. She said, "We'll figure out the money. I don't care what he says, I'm not letting you miss out on this opportunity." That was the first time in this whole ordeal I felt like things might actually turn out okay for me, minus the whole family drama, of course. My stepdad didn't speak to either of us that morning. He left for work without a word. Honestly, at this stage I was staying as far away from him as possible anyway. I spent the day at the library using their Wi-Fi to handle some university stuff, because I didn't want to do it at home where he might snoop. I also started quietly packing some of my important belongings in case things went south quickly. Update 3. A lot has happened. My mom, who has always been kind of passive and conflict avoidant, finally grew a spine. She did something I honestly didn't think she would ever do. She went and opened her own bank account and moved a chunk of money into it to pay for my tuition and living expenses for school. This is huge because my stepdad has controlled all the household finances for years. To explain, when they got married, he convinced her to merge accounts and let him manage everything since he's good with money, and to be fair, he makes more money than her. He's the primary earner, she has a part-time job. But it went from "I'll handle the bills" to him having to approve every expense. He gave Mom a household budget and basically monitored what she spent. He even cut up one of her personal credit cards a couple years back, saying she didn't need it since they had a joint card. Yeah, real controlling behavior that in hindsight was a bunch of red flags. She never stood up to that until now. After the ultimatum and seeing how far he'd go to control my future, something in her snapped. Without telling my stepdad, Mom withdrew a significant amount of money from their joint account, money that originated from her savings and my college fund, and deposited it in a new account only she has access to. This was effectively to make sure she could pay for my college directly, with or without his permission. She also retrieved some important documents, birth certificates, etc., and stashed them safely, anticipating a possible separation. I only found out she did all this after the fact. She told me once it was done, and I was honestly so proud of her. It was like, finally she's not letting him micromanage her or me. Well, when my stepdad discovered what she did, he retaliated in the pettiest and cruelest ways. First, he somehow got alerts or noticed the large withdrawal/transfer, of course he did. He likely checks the accounts daily. That same day, I found out our home Wi-Fi suddenly had a new password. He changed all the Wi-Fi passwords and likely even the admin settings so I couldn't use the internet at home anymore. It was clearly aimed at me, because my mom has mobile data and didn't notice the Wi-Fi change until I told her I couldn't connect. He didn't even bother giving her the new password either, so maybe he wanted to spite both of us. Along with that, I got a lovely surprise when my phone stopped working. My stepdad removed my number from the family phone plan, basically cutting off my cell service. I'm pretty sure he did that out of pure spite, to make it harder for me to communicate with anyone, or call colleges, etc. Luckily, my phone itself isn't tied to him. As soon as I realized what happened, and informed my mom, she gave me one of her SIMs. She was outraged and promised to get my phone set up on her own plan ASAP. But it's just the level of vindictiveness. Like, who does that to their family? Cut off the internet and phone of an 18-year-old just to assert power? The worst part, he actually followed through on kicking me out of the house. After he realized my mom was moving money, and likely planning to support me regardless of what he said, he went ballistic. He told me I was officially not welcome under his roof, since I'm determined to disrespect him and bleed them dry. It was a really nasty confrontation. Basically, he angrily told me to pack your crap and get out, go live off your mother's dime elsewhere. My mom was at work when this blow-up happened, so it was just me and him. I didn't engage much. I just said, fine. I don't want to live here with you either. I was done trying to reason with this man. I grabbed as much of my stuff as I could in a couple suitcases and backpacks. I called my mom and let her know what was happening. She was terrified and told me to go straight to my aunt's house, my mom's older sister, and wait there. My aunt is an absolute saint. She showed up with her car within an hour to pick me up. By the time she got to our house, I was already outside with my bags because I didn't feel safe or comfortable staying inside with him any longer than necessary. He was sulking in his office, probably thinking he'd won or something by booting me. My aunt didn't even go inside. She just honked. I'm pretty sure he saw or heard and just didn't care. Or maybe he was relieved I was actually leaving. So yeah, I'm staying at my aunt's house now. She welcomed me with open arms. No questions asked. Apparently my mom had given her a heads up about the situation. My mom had been confiding in her after the first fight when things got really bad. My aunt told me I can stay as long as I need and that she's proud of me for standing up to my stepdad's nonsense. She also said something like, "Don't worry, we're not going to let him get away with this." I was still pretty upset and shell-shocked, but hearing that was reassuring. My mom didn't come with me to my aunt's, at least not yet. She stayed in the house with him for now, likely to sort out her next steps and because she's not one to leave her home so easily. I think she wanted me out of there for my safety and sanity, but she's being strategic about her own exit. There are financial and legal things she's probably considering. We've been in constant contact though. Once I got to aunt's and got on Wi-Fi, I updated her. Now she's got me a cheap temporary phone plan of my own too. She told me not to worry, and that this is not the end of my college plans. She's already paid the deposit for the spring semester at the university I chose, the one with the partial scholarship. She managed to do that before my stepdad possibly locks down the money. So the important stuff is secured. Meanwhile, the situation between my mom and stepdad is at a breaking point. They basically aren't talking unless they absolutely have to. She told me he's been alternating between angry, sulking, and trying to act like I'm the source of all their problems. He's mad that I turned her against him. Mom told me that last night he actually tried to apologize to her for the fighting, not for what he did to me, mind you, but just the fact they've been fighting. And he suggested that if I just apologize and agree to forget about the university, I could move back home and things would go back to normal. She told him there is no normal to go back to after what he did. She said she's done tolerating his control. According to her, that made him switch back to anger pretty quick, and he accused her of valuing some bratty kid's whims over their marriage. That pretty much ended any civil conversation. Mom is basically biding her time now, lining up her ducks. She's consulting with a lawyer. One of my uncles helped set that up, more in the next update. So yeah, I'm safe at my aunt's place, and my college future is back on track. It sucks that it's come to this in my family, but I'm also kind of relieved to be out of that toxic house. I've been focusing on working extra hours at my part-time job for the fall, and saving up so I have a cushion when I start school. My aunt refuses to take any rent or anything from me while I'm here. She said, "Focus on school and getting out of this mess." I'm so grateful for the support system on my mom's side of the family. Update 4. This will likely be my final update because things have pretty much reached the endgame. My stepdad's last-ditch attempt at manipulating the situation backfired spectacularly. He apparently thought he could rally the extended family to his side by painting me as an ungrateful, entitled brat, and my mom as someone who's being duped by me. Spoiler: it did not work, and it actually made things so much worse for him. Basically, after I moved to my aunt's and my mom was openly planning to leave him, my stepdad went into damage control mode. I'm guessing he realized that he was losing control and that people would eventually hear his wife and stepdaughter moved out, or kicked out, in my case. So he contacted a bunch of our extended family, mostly on my mom's side, her siblings, and even some of her cousins that we're close to. He tried to get ahead of the story by calling them and even writing this email detailing his version of events. In his mind, I'm sure he thought he could make me look like the villain. Well, I've seen the email he sent. One of my uncles forwarded it to me. They all have my back. It's a wild ride. In the email, my stepdad says that I've become entitled and brainwashed by the idea of going to an expensive university, and that I've turned my mother against him to get what I want. He actually wrote that I threw a tantrum after not getting into some schools and manipulated my mom into spending a ridiculous amount of money to indulge my dreams. Here's the best part: while trying to defend himself, he accidentally admitted what he did. He wrote, paraphrasing a bit, "I might have intercepted 1 or 2 college letters because I knew how much disappointment they would cause her if she got into a school we couldn't afford." There it is. He basically blurted out that he intercepted my mail, trying to frame it like he was protecting me from disappointment. That's a completely warped justification and also something he should have never put in writing, because guess what? Intercepting mail that isn't addressed to you is a federal crime. 2 of my uncles are lawyers, my mom's brothers. They saw that line and their jaws hit the floor. One of them literally responded all to the email pointing out, in polite lawyer speak, that my stepdad just confessed to federal mail tampering and that he should be very careful what he says next. The uncle also coldly stated that his actions toward me were deceitful and possibly actionable. I doubt my stepdad expected to be effectively threatened with legal action by his own in-laws when he sent that email, but that's what he got. From what I hear, a bunch of family members basically blasted him after that. My aunt, the one I'm staying with, called him up and reportedly chewed him out thoroughly. I wasn't on the call, but she told me she gave him a piece of her mind about abusing my mom's trust and my future. My grandparents, mom's folks, are also furious with him. No one in the family is taking his side, especially after learning the full truth. In fact, his email did the opposite of what he intended. It alerted everyone to just how scheming and dishonest he's been. If he was hoping to pressure my mom by turning family against us, that plan imploded. My mom has officially filed for legal separation, the first step toward divorce here. She actually moved out of the house last week and is staying with my grandparents for now. She didn't want to stay under the same roof with him any longer, especially knowing we have family support. She took whatever personal belongings and important documents she could, and she's getting a good lawyer, with my uncle's help. The separation papers have been served to my stepdad. According to my mom, when he got them he was enraged and in disbelief, trying one last time to beg her not to throw away their marriage over a disagreement about a bratty kid. She told him it's too late. He's the one who threw the marriage away when he decided to lie and betray his family. I'm so proud of her for finally standing up for herself, and me. It's not easy. I know she's been emotional about the end of her marriage, but she keeps saying she feels a sense of relief too, now that she's made the decision. There's no more waffling. I'm doing okay, all things considered. With all this family drama, I was worried it might derail my college plans again, but my mom and I made sure it didn't. I've officially enrolled in the university for the spring semester. I even went to a short orientation for spring admits and signed up for classes. I'll be starting university next month. Honestly, I'm excited and also nervous, but mostly excited. After everything that happened, it feels a little surreal that I'm actually going. We haven't decided what to do, if anything, about the whole mail tampering crime. My uncle said we could report it, but my mom is on the fence about dragging this into a criminal case unless necessary. It might be used as leverage in the divorce to get him to agree to terms favorable to my mom, like not contesting certain things. I don't really care as long as I'm away from him and he can't mess with my life anymore. Right now, he's keeping a low profile after basically everyone pointed out how badly he screwed up. I wouldn't be shocked if he eventually tries to slink back and apologize when he realizes the legal separation is real, but that's not going to fix anything.